Oh, there you are. Good morning and welcome to the Leadership Show. Now, by now you know, this is a program where we look at some of the things that are happening in this country and we try and place the role of the leader in either the way that things are going right or the way that things are going wrong, and what needs to happen to ensure that they are consistently on the right path. My name is Frederick Njiri, and today I have Pastor David Matthew with me in the studio. Karibu.
Thank you very much, Fred.
Again, we keep on saying this is a gentleman who wears so many hats. Pastor, an economist, an entrepreneur. So he's in touch. He's a man with so many tentacles touching different aspects and has a very interesting perspective of the politics of this country. Now, today we have two very interesting topics that we'll be looking at. Number one, we have the wave of neo or Pan-Africanism that is sweeping across Africa. And then secondly, we'll be looking at the political party democracies or lack therefore of there in our country. You've seen what has happened to ODM. There was a time the same was happening in Jubilee, and I'm very sure pretty soon we'll see some rebels being kicked out of UDA. So basically looking at all this and trying to see, is this good leadership? Is this the way a leader should go? And many more questions. So one of the questions that we've put up on our socials on this is, would you support your political leader even if his stand is against your values? Go right ahead. Welcome, Pastor David.
Thank you very much, Fred.
Now, we just got done with the climate change summit in the country, which saw quite a number of African leaders coming to the country, and a special envoy from the U.S. on matters climate change, John Kerry, and a lot of things were said. But what you get coming out of this whole scenario is a thinking that is starting to develop within African. And it's being pushed mostly, maybe the face is William Ruto as of now, of trying to push neo-colonialism out of our way. Did you get that feel out of this conference?
Well, thank you very much, Fred. A very good question indeed, because this is what is trending right now. You know, our president is not new in what is happening right now. He started the push.
Yes.
And you can remember he has actually been very vocal in terms of liberating the African countries. And you remember even the other time he talked about they go for a meeting and they are only taking selfies and nothing much which comes out of it. So right now he is determined, because he is actually leading the whole delegation. He is determined to see that there is a change. Because many of the African countries right now, they are colonized.
They're still colonized.
They are colonized. Actually,
we are free but not free.
That is the thing. You know, in terms of the decisions making, we don't make our own decisions. Decisions are made somewhere else. And ours is actually to follow. But this is what is happening right now. The president, and he has rallied all his presidents in African countries, and he is challenging them. Look, we cannot actually be the menu. We have to be on the table. Because if you are not on the table, then you are the menu. Though these are the things that the president is doing and they are changing. And when I looked at what has been happening the whole of this week, I think there was a lot in terms of pushing Africans to their positions, to their space. Because I think we had lost it. You know, for example, we were discussing here and we were saying, look, if you go to Saudi Arabia, they are the ones who are selling to us crude oil. And when you come to Africans, and you know, we still have the crude oil, and we have oils in our land, but they will actually tell us, don't drill, don't do what you want to do in terms of getting the fuel, because it is going to pollute. It is going to affect the climate and all these things. But the question is, You are doing it,
Yeah.
but you don't want us to do it.
Yes. And what they're saying is that if we start drilling for oil like Kenya is doing and Uganda, is that we are going to mess up the environment. But basically, they are in control of the resources.
Correct.
And whoever is in control of the resources basically is in control of you.
Let me tell you, the ones who controls the resources is the one who gives the final call. And that's why you have realized, for us to make decisions, we have actually to depend on these powers, superpowers. And you know, they have taken advantage of us because maybe in terms of drilling, you need at least a lot of capital equipment and all these kind of things, whereby you need to be funded somehow like that.
Yes.
So you know what they will do is that they will not actually go that direction. You are looking for grants, you are looking for to be funded, and they will tell you, look, what we do is this. We'll come and do the drilling. Why do we want to go do the drilling?
Yeah.
That we know already about the environmental issues.
Yes.
But do you know, by the way, Africa, it is only emitting 4%. The whole. In fact, the other people
Just
who are
4%.
4%
Yes.
in terms of those emissions.
Yes.
But now these other countries, even the superpowers, are actually emitting that 96% is actually from them.
Yes.
So they will come here and tell you that we will drill it for you. But you know what you'll do? You give us 20 years for us to recover our costs. But let me ask you a question, Fred. By the time 20 years is out, do you know you'll not have oil in this country?
Yeah.
They will already have gone 24-hour clock, actually drilling and making
24
sure.
hours. Actually, I listened to, there was a coup, by the way, that took place in Gabon. And this might sound controversial from my perspective, but that is one coup that I support, actually. I would have been in the street celebrating because of that coup. Omar Bongo's son, who had taken over from the father,
Correct.
Was overthrown, and the military took over. And one of the reasons that the military was giving for doing that was that the people are impoverished.
Correct. In a big
Because
way.
what Gabon has oil. But France is the one that benefits out of that oil.
That is the thing.
They have resources, but only the rich and France benefit out of that.
yes.
It's an extremely poor
country. Yes.
And I looked at, historically, the pacts that the Francophone entered with France.
Yes.
And I was shocked because one of the things that France put in the Francophone, in that pact, is that if you discover oil or any other resources
Correct.
in your country,
Yes.
take for instance now Gabon
Yes.
or any other Francophone
Correct.
country,
Yes.
France and its companies
Yes.
have their first right.
Look at that.
They can veto you from giving the rights of that access or drilling that to any other company. Meaning, France is the one that takes it over.
Correct.
And if it's more than they are able to, they are the ones who will determine what is going to happen to. It is ridiculous.
So you're asking yourself, Fred, a question. Whose resources is it?
Yes.
Is it for Gabon or for France?
Yes.
But you see, that is where we are saying we are still colonized in the fact that the decisions for you are key resources, because minerals are the key resources and they are the ones which can actually boost the country from the poverty level to actually getting to almost the equal positions, if not equal, at least position whereby there is monies, incomes which are coming. Monies, big chunk of money which is coming. But as you are saying, you find that you are in your country, but you cannot make any decision. And this is actually what is happening to most of the African countries. You are finding the scenario you are talking about Gabon is actually a scenario which is being repeated in so many other countries.
True.
Whereby you find, in terms of the resources, before you do anything,
France has to give
permission.
in your own country.
That is the thing.
Take, for instance, a different kind of colonization, and this touches very close to Kenya, in that we have the Lake Victoria is in our region.
Yes.
but we do not have the rights. We cannot utilize water from the Lake Victoria, fresh water from Lake Victoria to help people in Kisumu and that area until we are given permission by Egypt.
See, look at it. You know, that's why we are saying, and that's why I've told you, what we are fighting in Gabon, look at it. It is the same thing that is happening in Kenya. We have to liberate ourselves from these kind of things. Because there are some pacts which were actually signed, which are backward. They are not helping the country in moving forward. And I like the force that our president is pushing on. I know he is liked and he is hated in equal measure. But let him be hated. Because these people, if something like this doesn't happen, we are not going to go anywhere. As you are saying, there are several people who are celebrating now about Gabon. There are some countries which were benefiting, which are feeling so bad about the whole thing. So we are saying here, let's look at all the pacts which were signed. And we actually look at Kenya as the top. Are we benefiting as the Kenyan people? If we are not benefiting, there is nothing that can stop us from changing some of these things. And the force that is actually coming, and I like when the African countries are coming together, actually bringing like allowed 16 to 18 presidents in a country is actually something which is very commendable. Such that these people are speaking in the same voice. And you know, I have looked at all the presidents, and you know what? When the president, our president, Ruto, was leading the declaration, now today, what are people talking? They are saying we must implement the Nairobi, the Kenyan declaration. And this is whereby you will fight. Things are going to happen because, you know, this declaration, they started a long time. 1997. And we are actually fighting ourselves, 2009. But you know the problem that we have is these people who are affecting our climate in terms of whatever they do, they promised, I can tell you, what do they promise? They promise they are going to be giving out to the African countries. As we say, the emission is only 4%. So African countries, they are doing two things. One, there is mitigation, which they are doing and doing it very well. And then there is what we call adaptation, which actually they are trying to work it out very well. And they had been promised, if you do these two things, what will happen is that we are going to be giving you, every particular time, we are going to be giving you 100 billion US dollars towards this effect. But do you know what? It was only a statement. There is no money that has actually come.
They don't give money.
They don't give money. Yet they are the people who are making us. I was so amazed by looking at, do you know, one vehicle, it is emitting, you see the impact, it is emitting 185 grams of carbon. 185 grams of carbon. Can I show you the danger of this carbon? Have you ever had someone, they went to a very cold place. And they were feeling cold.
And they lit a jiko.
And they lit a jiko. And they left the jiko there, and they were enjoying that, you know, the heat, and that, you know, the carbon smells very good. And they were actually enjoying, and they were breathing this carbon. In the morning, you go and you find the jiko, the charcoal went off, and the person went off.
the guy died in his
he died in the process. And that's why we are saying, when African countries are actually having, because we are the people who are having the clean air, actually the cleanest air is in Africa. These are the places, there is in the clean air. I can tell you the industrial, the production, the kind of the carbon CO2, because we learned about it, that it is being emitted to the environment. And you find that even you see like now where you are finding the globe is very hot and many other things. It's still the same thing, the climate change. And you find these people, they want to come here in Kenya and they want to dictate things. When you find like the president telling you, look, We are going to plant how many trees? We want to do almost like every person is like, he said, is it 15 million or something like that? Is it
Actually,
15?
it's almost 6 billion.
Billion,
trees.
yes. These kind of trees, because one of the things that we know, what do the trees do? They give us oxygen. And they take the carbon dioxide for them to produce.
Yeah.
So you can see the way the Kenyans people are lagging behind the right things in trying to forestations and all this, where other people, they did the deforestation, as we are actually going this side of afforestation. And you know, these are the things that the initiative that this country is having. But you see, because it is not us who has caused these climate issues. It is actually other people who have done it.
So they have to pay the price.
Yes.
For what the damage they have done.
The damage, that is adaptation.
Yes, and they have to pay us so that we don't follow suit.
Yes, we mitigate.
Yeah, because we want to become as developed.
Correct.
But for us to become as developed as they are,
yes,
then we have to pollute the air like they did. And that means the entire globe is going to be endangered. So they have to pay, they had to compensate us not to take that direction.
Correct. In fact, there is, do you know actually 1 ton of CO2, of carbon?
Yes.
According to the World Bank, the indication is that 1 ton of carbon should be going between 40 to 80 US dollars, or even more.
80.
Yes.
$80.
$80. And this is actually the calculations which have been done. But do you know what? You will never get even those dollars. Why? Because they are middlemen.
Yeah.
And these middlemen
come from the West.
Yes, they come from the West. That's why now you are fighting that. You see, do you know what? They can actually, they get licenses to be the people. Actually, you see, like now.
To be the middleman.
Yes, to be the middleman. And they can transfer it to you. Even they tell you, Fred, I am going to transfer some of these things. You can be able to do it, but the money
comes to
me. You'll get a very small percentage.
Yeah.
But the money still is going back to them. That's why you are finding that the African countries are getting nothing. And that's why we are saying, at the end of the day, we have to liberate ourselves. Actually,
how it gives me the vibe of, you know, the Jews or Israelis, when they came out of Egypt, they went out of Egypt as they were headed towards the promised land, but Egypt was still in them. In the sense, if we are to become very open and blank about the level of colonization in our mind, is that we have taught our children black is bad, brown and white is superior. So that when you're taking, I saw an example that was done, an experiment that was done with a child and dolls, and it was shocking. This is a black girl, a very young girl. She's taken to go buy a doll, and the two dolls are put side by side. One of them is a dark girl, a dark doll, and the other one is a white doll.
Yes.
And the young girl is told, choose. And she goes for the white doll. When she's asked, why aren't you taking the black doll? This is a black girl. And she says, the black doll is ugly. Where did she learn that? This is colonization.
It is the same. It is the thing that we are talking about. You know, to be colonized, it starts right from the mind. And there are so many people who are very skillful. Do you know, by the way, right now, Fred, if I want to bring you down, I can bring you down very much.
Yes.
In terms of if I attack your mind.
Yes, true.
You are very smart right now, Fred.
Yes, yeah.
But can I tell you, I can make you feel as
like
if
I'm not smart.
As if I'll tell you, man, you cannot have gray and black and the letter and all these things. But I know already you are very smart.
Yes.
But because I am not putting the way you are putting,
Yes.
I want to show you that you cannot. I will tell you, Fred, right now you are overdressed.
Yes.
And you know, it gets into your mind.
Yeah. You start thinking, hey, by
yeah,
the
you
way,
start- yes.
there's a possibility.
Yeah, you are, and you say, yeah, bracken, this, it cannot.
Yeah.
And it is only what I am doing is attacking your mind.
Yeah.
Let me bring it home.
Mhm.
There is it a methali or something, a proverb
Yes.
that people says that you can remove someone from the village.
Yes.
You know, you bring someone from the village, like my village is Muranga.
Yes.
You can bring someone from Muranga. And that is easier
Yes.
because it is actually transferring
It's
him.
physical.
Physical.
Yes.
You are need. But it is very difficult to remove Muranga from my mind.
Mhm.
That is touching on your brain,
Yes.
the functioning of your brain.
Mhm.
Now, many people, what they have done, they have known that we can just, remove people from here
Yeah.
and take them here. But let's still not allow them to have their mind open to the greatness and many other things. And that is the same thing, the same we are saying, the children of Israel.
Yes.
Let me tell you, it was actually a way that even if they moved from one place to another,
Yes.
their mind was still captured.
Yes.
And right now what has happened is because we have allowed the Muranga thing
Yeah.
to be the dominant in our mind.
Yes.
So even anytime I want to open your mind
Yes.
to see greater things, you will never see greater things. You will actually ask yourself, who is that from Muranga built that kind of a big company?
And you see,
You know.
just to give an example, there's a group from Muranga that came to the city center.
Yes.
And they bought property.
Correct.
And then they named it after their village.
Yes.
I think it's called Rwathia or
It's
something.
Rwathia, yes, it is here.
So
yes.
yeah, they have their village within the urban
Correct.
center.
True. That's the thing we are saying. To remove that, do you see, actually we carry everything to
Yes.
where we are going.
So what will it take to get Africa moved, not just physically, because right now we have Africans or people who believe that the only way they can make it is if they leave Africa and they go to the Western world. What kind of a leader will it take to get people like Kenyans and Africans to believe that they are good and they are fit for purpose for this country, and we are perfectly situated that we can develop this country to be number one instead of the second-rate citizens we keep on being told we are?
By the way, you need one man with positive mind. You know, we talked about who is a leader.
Yes.
Is someone who can influence. Because that is the powerful thing in terms of influencing the mind of the people. We need a leader who is consistent. And actually, I have seen it, and I'm not here just to speak about our president right now. He has his highs, he has his downs.
Yes.
But there are some few things that he is doing which is good, and it is going to help people to get liberated from this thing. Because one, if you look at him, he is actually, in terms of even the ministries he has created,
Yes.
he has actually created a full office for diaspora,
Yes.
whereby there is a CS who is actually a CS who is connecting Kenya and the diasporas. And I can tell you the amount of money that is coming to Kenya right now, Fred,
Yes.
from diaspora,
Yes.
is actually a lot of money, which is getting almost several billions right now. It is actually a lot of money which is coming from diaspora.
Yeah.
Almost half a trillion
Wow.
is actually coming. You know why? Because people have started seeing that I can develop my own country. They have started to realize, yes, I am in US, but US may not be my future.
Yes.
And this is the mental change that is happening in terms of when the president is pushing and he is having actually a full ministry which is dealing with this is going to the right direction.
Yeah.
And what we need to do is when we see the president do what he is doing, we need also to have people who are rallying behind the president. And when we are even talking, like now, Fred, you have some children.
Yes.
You need to tell them
Yeah.
that Kenya is an equal employer,
Yes.
just like the US. And you need to give them good examples.
Yeah.
There are some of the billionaires who are in this country. Let's talk about the Manu Chadalia.
Yes.
This man, how much in his own empire are we talking about?
Yeah, he's worth quite a number of billions.
There are so many white men who cannot be able to get near to where Manu Chadalia and the family are.
Yes.
You find most of the people, actually, even most of the people from the US right now, they will actually try to get into Kenya because they know there is more money to be made in Kenya. I love one of my nephew. He went to study abroad and he came back to Kenya. And actually he did a very good course, petroleum engineering.
Yes.
And he cleared some few years back.
Yeah.
He came. We thought that he would not actually stay. He will not come back to Kenya.
Yeah.
But he said, and these are the people who are liberated.
Yes.
He said that I have my country to develop, and this is Kenya.
Yeah.
This gentleman, right now as we speak, he is actually doing things. Very few years after clearing campus.
Yes.
He is doing very few things. Next year, we are celebrating his master's degree, which he has done it here locally.
Yes.
The first degree, he did it out of the country.
Yeah.
The second degree, he has done it when he is in this country, and I can tell you he is flying high.
Yes.
What is it that we are saying? Is that you don't have to be in US for you to become someone. You can be in this country and you are transacting with the globe. Let me ask you also another good question.
Yes.
There is a man who, and I like this man, Jack Ma.
Oh, yes.
Jack Ma is actually someone who is actually now going, you know, the Amazon.
Yes.
He is moving with Amazons like this.
Yes.
The Amazons are not actually from where Jack Ma comes from.
Yes.
But Jack Ma is a guy who came from
China.
Yeah. A man who did not know even how to lead. In fact, he never knew even how to go to light anything. Do you know how many universities rejected this man, Jack Ma?
Yeah.
So many universities rejected him because they did not want to fail because of this man. Because someone is doing very well, Jack Ma is
pulling
everybody down. And many people, they actually look down on Jack Ma. Today I can tell you what many people are getting in this country is actually by the power of Jack Ma, the Alibaba.
Yes.
He has developed actually a network in all the countries. Right now, do you know actually Jack Ma? He had his own way. He had created his path. And he said by the age of 45, I should be retired. And
at
praying
45?
And praying with children.
Yes.
Today, if we talk about Jack Ma, a man who was not in US, he was in China, but he knew how to connect the world through, you know, like, and the power of digital.
Yes.
And that's where people really need to open their mind, because there is a lot to do in terms of digital. This man opened to the world of digital, and he knew the world is just a village. So I can actually be here, but I am in US. I can be here, but I am in China. And that's what Jack Ma actually came and he realized.
Is there a possibility,
yes,
even as you're saying that our education system, which most of it is a fabrication, was handed over from the British. Our education system is one of the things or one of the tools that is also being used to keep us in a colonized mind, so that we are being taught the same way, you know, our forefathers were being taught to be good employees for the colonizer. So right now, our education system is training our children to be employees instead of changing them, training them how to, innovate and come up with, become entrepreneurs.
Correct. Let me tell you, that is one of our downside. Do you know, go to South Africa. South African, if you actually rank Kenya in terms of academic certificates, Kenya, we are far much ahead.
Yes.
There are some actually certificates you go down with them in South Africa, and people look at you and they wonder, what kind of a man is this?
Yes.
That he can be able to score these things. It is because our education system is in terms of certificates.
Yes.
It is not in terms of opening the minds of the people. And I can tell you, you see, Kenya, it is only that we politicize and we don't sit down to think about what we are doing so much. But there are several leaders who have seen exactly the downside of our academic. CBC
Yes.
is one of the thing that actually the Kenyan people and the thinking tanks, which were actually behind the CBC, there is something that they had seen about, expanding and growing the mind of, the learners.
Yes.
And they realized here, Fred, you may be very good.
Yeah.
Not actually in calculating 20 times 20.
Yes.
You may not even get to know it is 400.
Yeah.
But you are very good in technical work, such that you can look at something like this and you start inventing things. You've seen some few young boys, they have even not gone even beyond class 8.
Yeah.
And they are actually there fixing things, and they start hanging on the air.
Yes.
The
drones.
The drones.
Yeah.
And they are actually they are getting something from here. They get a chip from here, another chip from here. Where did they learn about those chips? It is actually God has talented them in that area.
Yeah.
Whereby this guy, he only need now capacity. He needs resources. He needs now to be developed on that line. He doesn't even need all these certificates that we talk about. What he needs is actually certificates on the skills.
Yes.
His skills to be, you make him to be now, to get to that level. He grows towards that level. But you know what we are doing is that we are not allowing creativity in the people. Some of these things that are happening, you realized also there is another young boy. And I will give you 2 examples because they are local. Yes. And I want at least people to see. There is one young boy who made excavator.
An excavator.
Yes, excavator. And he was using the ropes.
Yeah.
That he is able to come and spook soil from the ground. And using the ropes, he is able to lift it. And using the rope again, he is able to pour it into a lorry that he had already made.
Yes.
Look at this man. He is actually a small boy in the village.
Yes.
But he knows exactly how I can make pulleys to work. This is actually for even someone who has done a lot of physics.
Yes.
Many people cannot get to see all that.
Yes.
But this young boy is getting to a point of seeing, I can be able to make excavator from this thing. So what we are saying is those innovations are the things that we need to allow people.
We develop them.
Yes.
We ensure that we are able to nurture them so that the country can be able to benefit from the same.
Correct.
When I was growing up, I was told there's a Kenyan who actually did a plane. Forget. There's some planes, keep on seeing stories on TV of individuals who are trying to do create trains, planes using, tuk heavy material and stuff. And from a layman perspective, I can tell you that thing has absolutely no way it's going to take off. Yet I'm told there was a guy who did a plane. I actually even watched it, a Kenyan.
Yes.
It flew and it crashed.
Yes.
And then he was arrested.
You see,
instead of taking this guy,
yes,
he's already done a plane. You take him to an environment now. You train him to be able to help the country. But and he was arrested because, number one, he was flying without a license,
the license
and then endangering people's lives. Use that talent.
Do you know, that is where now we are saying we lack leadership. These are some of the skills, and they can change the country.
Yes.
By the way, the country, in terms of change, it needs one person who does what they are good at, another person goes to another direction,
Yes.
and you fight the country now. You know, we need to have a department, a ministry, that is purely
Yes.
looking at the talents.
Yes.
And these talents, I know they are having some few, even in terms of the county, they are having some few CSs
Yes.
who are actually doing the skills and all these things.
Yeah.
But we need, at least even from the government, we are saying this department, this ministry, it only deals with the skills. Because as you are saying, this man, it is true, you cannot go to the the air, because even, do you know, actually even building the way you had to get license for you to go up.
Yes.
But what we are saying is, when will we ever be able to do something?
Yeah.
If, for example, if I come and I start doing something, what you do is actually arrest me.
Yes. You're looking at instead of looking at the talent that I have.
Yes.
Like the young people who've done, created radio stations, TV stations.
Sure.
People who've never gone to school, but they've created, I mean, picking a capacitor here, and putting things together, and they have a transmitter.
Correct.
Instead of arresting those people, help them.
Take them to academy.
Yes.
You have academy,
yes.
which is actually saying this academy is going to make whatever ideas that you have to come to be fulfilled. And these are the things we are talking. In fact, Kenya, we have so many things, and that's exactly what you are talking about.
Yes.
The last thing, I had also said I will give you like 2.
Yes.
The last thing is a young boy, he is still in school.
Yes.
He actually comes from a very poor village. And you know, this guy realized, and he sat down and he said, when people are at work, and they have left their clothes on the ride, and it starts raining, they are thinking, what do I wear tomorrow?
Yes.
This young boy thought, and he thought in a very big way, and he said, I can do something to be able, this thing when it senses rain.
Yes.
What does it do? Very fast.
Yes.
By sensing rain, it takes the clothes inside.
It pulls the clothes inside
the house.
So we are not stupid,
no,
are we?
We are not. It is only that we are not allowing people to, you know, to expand, to get out of their cocoons. Yes. And the government is not allowing. And this is actually, I'm talking, because I am on air. Yes. I am talking and challenging my government that we must get down and we see the skills and talents. Because it is not that, Fred, I have gone to school.
Yes.
I have done masters, I have done many other things.
Yes.
But I can tell you, there are several people without my masters can be able to transform this country.
Yes.
And this is where we are saying, let's get to know what talents, what skills do people have? What is it that we can do to do the capacity building, to help these people to come up? Because most of the things which are being done, you know, like now the way you are talking about L-prints, they are being done somewhere else. Yeah. But we have our own who can be able to do the same thing. In fact, if they are given the capacity and they are actually...
They'll do it even better.
They will even do better.
Let's take a short break. When we come back, we'll finish up on that and then go to political parties.
Correct, yes.
So that we see... the way political parties work in Kenya, they're supposed to be the vehicles of democracy. They're supposed to be the ones that give birth to this. But what ideologies do they hold? Let's take that short break as we take a very interesting and sweet drink that has been prepared by one of our ladies here called Angela Kitono. Very nice drink that suits our throats.
Very nice.
through the morning rush and the buzz. Find a voice you can trust, a voice of reason, a voice of direction, and a voice of hope.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Live. I'm Cynthia Nanjala.
And I'm Samia Dika. Rise and shine, folks. We hope you are ready for an energizing start to your day.
Absolutely. We are here to bring you the latest headlines and trending news stories from the world of politics,
Business and finance, health and lifestyle,
agriculture, and sports.
So grab your coffee, sit back and get ready for a fantastic morning of engaging discussions and news segments.
Join us through our social media handles, #The Morning Live. This is Morning Live, exclusively on EBN TV.
Watching EBN TV, transforming your world.
Now, welcome back to the Leadership Challenge show, where we look at some of the things happening in our country, and we place where the leader needs to be. And we were just talking about the wave of Pan-Africanism that is going on in the country, in the continent of Africa, and how we need a leader who can spear it to get to a place where we achieve ourselves, in the sense that we are able to decolonialize our minds, because that's where we are. Now, let's come back to Kenya. In the last, actually, I think it was just a few days ago, some members of parliament were actually suspended, others expelled, because they're said to be in dalliance with the opposite party. When you look at a country like the US, you look at the UK, you look at France, in most cases they have two major political parties that have ideologies that have been there since time immemorial. So that I know if you're a conservative, I know this is what you believe. If you're a Republican, this is what you believe. If you're a Democrat, this is what you believe. What do our political parties, the two main political parties, what do they stand for? What are their ideologies?
Their ideology is one.
Yes.
Numbers and winning the next election. That's all what they think about.
Yes.
Actually, most of them, do you know, and that's why I'm saying there are no ideologies which are there. Most of them, and I'm sorry to say that.
Yes.
Why am I saying that? If you looked at the manifesto, and I know you are keen,
Yes.
for Azimio,
Mm-hmm.
and you looked at the manifesto for Kenya Kwanza,
Yes.
those manifestos were not way far from one
Yes,
another. They
true.
were actually almost, in fact,
Yeah.
most of the things you could actually be able to say, it
Copy
is a
paste,
copy-paste
yeah, yes.
from here to there.
Mm.
What you realize is that Kenyan are obsessed with the issue of who is popular.
Mm.
Not in terms of ideas,
Mhm.
but in terms of how many people can I pull.
So it's basically the political parties, the values, the ideologies are simply individuals.
They are individuals. Actually, they don't look at the things in terms of, do you know there are some leaders, and I will give you a good example. There are some of the parties, some of the people who are running for presidency.
Yes.
You may look at their ideas and you realize these guys have brilliant ideas.
Yes.
But when they come actually to the people, because they have not built themselves to that position that you can pull numbers, and some of the numbers, they are pulled through very funny things. They are pulled on how many people can shout.
Yes.
When we come with you, maybe like now, Fred, you can talk much.
Yes.
Maybe me, I don't talk much.
Yes.
Many people, if we have some people who are here, they will follow you because you
because
can.
I talk a lot.
Yeah, you can talk
I
a
seem
lot.
to have a lot of words.
Yes, a lot of words.
Yes.
And they will actually leave me alone and say, this man,
Yeah.
he doesn't talk. He is just there. And I may be speaking very important things. But the audience, they want someone to be excited. And this is even going to the church also.
Yes. Yes.
Can I tell you why churches are becoming empty?
Yes.
You have so many members in church. But these members, all what they go out with is that man was funny.
Yes.
That man spoke. And then you ask them, what did he say? He was jumping, he was doing this and all that.
He was just funny.
But you bring a man who is going to speak the word and teach the word, you find the whole church sleeping.
They can't, they don't know the value
Yes.
and the importance of the
Actually,
word.
they will sleep from the word go to the head.
That is so sad.
Because why? You are not shouting. You are not doing some gymnastics. So for them, they find you boring. But if you look at the content and what you want to do to the people, you find that this man that people are sleeping during his time,
He's the one
he
who-
is taking them somewhere.
Yes.
You find someone just takes a fuss and he tells you that you'll have your Mercedes.
Yeah.
Now you are clapping and you are so happy that you have been told, I will have my Mercedes. But you have not been told what is the process of getting this
The
Mercedes. So he has only come and excited you, but not actually telling you. Now, in terms of leadership, especially our political leaders, the same thing that is happening. There are some people who have the ideas on how to change this country.
Yes.
But many people are not interested in those ideas. And why am I telling you this?
They're not interested in what these people will say.
Yeah, and because they are looking at the numbers, they will follow the people now. What people want to hear is what they will give them, and not what is going to drive this country to a higher level. Yesterday,
Yes.
I give you a very good example.
Yes.
Yesterday, I saw farmers for the first time.
Yes.
Do you know why the farmers are making noise?
Yes.
It's because the price of maize is coming down drastically. Drastically. Now, what they are saying now, the farmers are complaining and they are saying, look,
Yeah.
we will not be able to sell our maize
Yes.
at this price
Yes.
because it will not meet our costs.
Yes.
This is where we kept on telling people, look, there is what we call production,
Yes.
supply and the demand.
Yes.
Prices will actually be
Go
brought
down.
down
Yes.
by the supply and the demand. Many people did not listen and they did not want to understand.
Yes.
They wanted to hear, we are going on the road because we must bring the cost of living down.
Yes.
Now this is the cost of living which is coming down.
The farmers are complaining.
The farmers are complaining. Why?
And it's coming down because there's a lot of supply of maize.
Yes. You know what? They say it open the countries.
Yes.
So that we can also be able to bring in maize.
Yes.
I tell you, go to the border here, Namanga.
Yes.
My friend, a sack of maize,
yes,
it is actually being sold at a very throwaway price. Now, what we are saying is,
yes,
in terms of ideologies,
yes,
many people, they did not want to hear about this. And you find some parties, they have ideologies which
yes,
are good.
yes.
Other parties, they don't want. Because you see, for example, us, and that is the worst thing about Kenyan politics.
Yes.
Even if there is anything good, I will not come and say, Fred, you have a good idea. I will try and mutilate it, cut
Just
it into
make
pieces.
yes.
Yes, look at it and say, this thing is not good for Kenyan people. Yeah. And because you are forceful and you are saying it is not good for Kenyan people, do you know what? People will not accept. But there are times the supply and the demand, whether you want to accept it or not, it will control.
Now I look at a person like Odiwar, the MP for Langata. Here he says, the president's coming to his constituency to launch the housing program, which is going to create a lot of jobs, according to him and the president, to the people there. So he attends that. But attending that and later on doing follow-up meetings with the president, he's told you in dalliance with the president, we are kicking you out. So it looks like we are creating, and this, it's not just ODM. It happens with all the parties. I know it will also happen with UDA.
Yeah.
So that if you support a different party because their ideology stands with your values, then you're deemed to have gone against the president. I mean, the owner of the party, and you're kicked out. So, so you can't support something, you have to go against something because your party leader is against it. So if something is white and your party leader says it's black, you got to say it's black.
And that's why I started by saying that there are no ideologies in our parties. We actually follow a man. And it's
either
across,
Ruto or Raila.
Yes, it is across the board. I like some few people. One, you have your mind, Fred.
Yes.
And people should not really underestimate the power of mind. In the fact that we are here with you, we have different kind of thinking on different things. And I should respect your thinking, and you should respect my thinking. When you find people controlling people thinking mind, they are the people who are, there is what we call, actually there is a law that we call the law of the lead.
Yes.
Whereby you lock someone completely, that they cannot go beyond here.
Yeah.
Most of our political parties, what they are doing, they are so good in applying the law of the lead. Such that even if you can be able to move up, they will not allow you to go up. Why? Because they are looking at the next 5 years. And that is a catastrophe we have in this country. I have looked at some few people. The women rep for Nairobi.
Yes.
I salute her. You know what?
Yes.
She went against the grain.
Yes.
And she said, Nairobi, we need our women, we need our children to have a decent life.
Yes.
And if there is any reason as to why I am going to vote for this bill of housing,
it's because of this.
It is because of the people. I know my party leader will not accept to move with this, but I will move with it. And I will not apologize. I know she has been given a fine
Yes.
of $500,000,
Actually,
quarter of a million.
Yeah, I was reading that when she was called by the the party, disciplinary committee, and she was told against, the charges were. She said, if this bill comes again on the floor of the House, I will vote the very, very same way.
Correct.
And it's actually the party leader who said that.
Yes, correct. Actually, by the way, the party leader has gone a little bit. He has actually, because the ruling, the judgment which had been given there before was very heavy. Some people are actually being given 5 million,
Fine.
and you can't, and you are not allowed to sit anywhere in the parties. Yes. All those kind of things. But now the leader looked at it and he said, this is going to be dangerous for my people.
Yes.
And you see, the thing is, when I think, even for example, Kiabu,
Yes.
there is a lady, Wamushoba.
Yes.
She actually
she
went
voted
there.
against.
Yes, and there is
EBN.
something that she looked and she said, I am in this party, the Kenya Kwanza, but I don't agree. Let me tell you, the development and what we are looking for in Kenya is not going to be where all of us we are singing the same tune.
That's a boring.
Yes, it is a very boring thing. And that's why you found you see, like Honorable Raila, let it give him where he deserves to be given credit.
True.
This man, he has actually developed democracy in a very big way.
Yes.
In the sense that if you want to see who was the whistleblower,
Yes.
for all the things that were going wrong in the governments, starting from Moi, starting with Kibaki,
Yes.
Uhuru, the time he did not come for the handshake,
Yeah.
this man brought
was very at the helm.
correct the agro-leasing
Yes.
and all these kind of things.
Yes.
They actually happened because there is a man who did not sing the same tune with the government. When the government wanted to do things which are not right for the Kenyan people,
He
he
shouted,
stood
yes.
and he shouted. And that's why we are saying, if it was not for him at that particular time and some few other individuals, I can tell you Kenya would not be where it is today.
True.
And that's why we are saying, let's allow the freedom of expression.
Yes.
Because
even when you stand against it, how does it work in other jurisdictions? I'm thinking, if I look at the U.S., you're a Democrat, but you're now speaking the Republicans' language. How does it happen? Do they kick you out of the party, disciplinary, or what happens? Or what is supposed to happen?
what I have seen is, I think they have grown a little bit further than the way we are here. Such that there is a time that you can bring a bill and it is actually for your party and you bring it down. It doesn't matter.
You shoot it down.
Yes, you shoot it down. It doesn't matter from which party, political party you are in.
Yes.
And they look at it and they say, this is to do with Americans. It is not to do with my party.
Yes.
Because my party is here, but the Americans people are better, above the party.
So loyalty to the country and not necessarily to the party.
And this is what really needs to happen. Today, we talk some great things about what the president is doing. Right now, some few minutes, we have seen there is credit to be given to the former prime minister, because there are things that he did. So what we need to do as the Kenyan people, let's not be driven by things which are not helping the country. Honorable Ruto, after some few years, he'll be gone and forgotten.
Yeah.
Honorable Raila, after some few years, will be gone and forgotten. But Kenya will remain. Kenya will be here.
Yes.
Even when we are far much gone.
Yes.
Kenya will be here. The question that we need to ask ourselves is, when I am making a decisions, am I thinking about Kenya in the year 2050? When I may not be here.
Am I just thinking of myself and
Correct.
now?
That is what really need to get out. That again is colonization. People have been colonized in their mind. And let me give you a good example about colonization.
Yeah.
We realized, like the time we were doing the constitution,
Yes.
many educated Kenyans, they did not read that constitution.
They didn't read the document.
Do you know, you talk even right now to a Kenyan and you ask them what is chapter 6.
Yes.
They will not even give you an idea. They will not tell you even what is this chapter 6 you are talking about.
Yes.
Why? Because the man that they love was either for or was against.
Yes.
So it was killed either for
Based on
the people.
Yes.
And that's why we are fighting. Right now we are having so many problems because instead of having the ideologies which are helping and building this country,
yes,
we look at ideologies based on who we like and who we don't like.
So actually, you're right, because majority of people, when they buy their newspaper, they look at what has Raila said, what has President Ruto said.
Correct.
So they weigh and they think, and we've been told that before. Somebody looked at the newspaper and said, "Ai, leo hakuna news," because Raila and Ruto had not spoken.
Correct.
And have been in a newsroom also, where, you know, when you don't have news from these two, it's like, today your bulletin is not good.
Is your mind actually, don't you think there is an attack of your mind?
True.
In the sense that you think news is Raila. You
Yes.
think news is Ruto.
Yeah.
But you are not thinking about Kenya. You
Yes.
need to see opportunities in Kenya.
Very
you
true.
need to see what is it that I can do in terms of my locality. You know, if everybody start thinking about Kenya, what you realize is that just the same way Jack Ma
Yes.
saw the globe and the power of digital, you can actually sit here and see, look, what is happening in Kisumu. And I am here in Nairobi,
Yes.
and you think, what is it that I can do to be able to bring a change and actually to push my country forward? So these are the things that we are talking about. I think we must move. And Kenyan people, I am speaking, and I am very passionate about it. Kenyan people, we need to move out of people, and we see the country as the bigger picture. And that is the only way we are going to liberate this country. Not by men, but actually by all of us coming together and seeing what is the best that we can do for this country.
Nicely said. And that takes a leader. It's a leader. We are actually being led. You see, for leadership, we either have a good leader or a bad leader. But they are all leaders. It's only that when you have bad leaders, they will lead you the wrong way. When you have a good leader, he'll lead you the right way. We need, in as far as our political parties are concerned, we need to have ideologies. What do we stand for? What do we stand for as a people? So that people can align around their ideologies and not individuals. I hope this does not take so long to happen. And it happens immediately so that we can decide our things the right way. Well, with that, we bring the curtains down on the show. Do you have yourself a lovely morning? Remember, Daughters of the King will be coming in, and they'll be talking about matters to do with women in the Bible, and, you know, draw a connection of how such lessons apply to the woman today. So don't go away. Do have yourself a lovely morning.